Now it's time for our guest segment. Our guest today is a returning favorite to the Ass. He starred in the original Broadway cast of Jersey Boys and has performed in over 1,000 concerts and recorded two albums with the Midtown Men. Just in time for the holidays, he will be appearing at the Laurie Beachman Theater in New York City, December 7th and 8th, in his solo show, Christmas on 42nd Street. He'll then be taking the show to the Music Box Supper Club in Cleveland, Ohio, December 10th. Here's a taste of the musical stylings of Daniel Reichard.
Next year all of us will be together. If the fates allow. Until then, we'll have to follow through somehow and have yourself a merry little Christmas.
And please give a warm ass welcome to Daniel Reichard.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you, everyone.
It is so great to see you and have you on my ass again. And we need to remind you and the listeners that your first ever appearance on the podcast back on July 6, 2019, is one of our top 10 most downloaded episodes of all time.
Well, that is a great honor. And you know what makes me laugh is the title of that episode is something like Daniel Reichard
No,
sits.
it's Daniel Makes Us Reichard.
Oh, Daniel's makes us Reichard. I thought there was something in the description of the episode that was like Daniel sits down and shows us his big, long resume. And I think it was because I just basically got on and just started stream of consciousness just talking about my career the entire time, even though like nobody asked.
I no, I did. I go tell us the story of your life, and you took the question very literally. And about 20 minutes in, we were like, okay, we need to cut you off there and go to Ask Me No Questions. But it's a very popular episode, and so I thought it's time to have you back.
Well, Adam, I love your show. I've told you this many, many times. And now that you're doing it again, it makes me really happy because when I'm at the gym or I'm traveling, I play it and it makes me feel good. It's like a comfort food to me or something.
I love hearing that. So we were just talking about Jordan Litz, who's currently starring in Wicked as Fiero, and who ran the New York Marathon about a month ago, and then did a two-show day. You've done plenty of two-show days on Broadway. Can you ever imagine running the New York Marathon and then doing two performances?
I mean, I've been just blown away by that story because, I'd be like, that's like somebody who has like an astonishing amount of work ethic, discipline, health, like as I was going on in like my run in Jersey Boys, I did over 1,000 performances of the show on Broadway. But I would be like sometimes it'd be like a Tuesday and I'd be calling in, I'd be like, oh my allergies are really flaring up, and it's like the pool in Fire Island is splashing behind me. It's like splash, 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 and they're like, oh Daniel, have fun in Fire Island. Like this guy's going like I was like any chance I could to like have a moment where I wasn't doing the show, and this guy didn't even take the shows off the day of the marathon. I mean, that's like a Superman kind of guy.
It's unbelievable to me. Even stand up, which I don't think is nearly as hard as when you have to sing and dance. The few times that I've had to do two stand up shows in the same night, like it fucking kills me. It's
Yeah.
exhausting.
It
But
was doing two show days is so intense, and just the 8 show week in general. Like pretty much always in my various shows that I did in New York City and in the regions, I would basically spend all of Monday completely silent. It was a total rest day because it's the only day your body could recover. But that wasn't also doing a major sport, but that's
26 miles.
crazy. Oh my God.
Steve and I were also, and Steve is very sorry, by the way, that he had to leave and couldn't stay to see you for the interview. But we were talking about the Kevin Spacey story, the fact that Kevin claims he's now basically homeless because all of the lawsuits and the legal troubles have deprived him of his wealth, and we don't really have much sympathy for him. But you mentioned to me when we were preparing for the show that you have a Kevin Spacey encounter of your own.
Well, there's not so much to it, but when Jersey Boys was running on Broadway, there was some huge icon there every day in show business and big movie stars and directors and pop stars. And Kevin Spacey certainly is a major movie star. And and I watched the documentary about this the scandal and the abuse, the alleged abuse and everything. And it just reminded me that he knew somebody in the cast, these straight guys. And then I was invited to be like the gay boy, even though it was not talked about at dinner. We went to dinner afterwards together. I went to dinner with Kevin Spacey, and he had zero interest in me, even though I was in my 20s. But I was like, I guess I was not the type,
Well, he was deeply in the closet at that time.
right, exactly. It was kind of an interesting thing to be across the table from him in this Hell's Kitchen restaurant. I think it was Vintage. Do you remember that restaurant? It was
Yes.
called Vintage. It's where that well, I forgot what the bar is there now, but that whole story. It's interesting that anybody these days can have a comeback, and
Well,
somebody
I
like that.
I was saying to Steve, he has shown no remorse. He hasn't owned up to anything. He's been really combative and arrogant. And my feeling is when you have that many people telling the same story about you, even if some of them are lying, and I don't think any of them are, there has to be some truth there. There has to be there's clearly a pattern of behavior. And so to be so resistant to any kind of ownership or accountability, I think he could have a comeback if he were to say, like, listen, I, I I was unaware of it at the time, but clearly I've engaged in some really bad behavior that made people uncomfortable, and I'm going to work on myself. And I'm so sorry that I hurt people, and I'm going to go away now for a little while. And if he did that and then came back, he might very well have a comeback.
You're right. Or at least a momentary attempt. Like how Mel Gibson had that as well. Like he sort of came back for a little bit, but
I don't think he
he
ever apologized, though.
no, I'm just saying from all that he was so disgraced, and then he kind of came back for a second, but there's the damage was done, and like there was not going to be that sort of enthusiasm from the public to see Mel Gibson anymore. And it's the same thing with Kevin Spacey. He's going to try, and he's saying, in these interviews, like, call Evan Lowenstein, my manager, to Scorsese. He's like just basically calling out to the big directors, just call Evan Lowenstein or whatever his name was. I think that's what
He's
his name.
delusional.
It's crazy.
So getting back to you, I got to see you and your adorable boyfriend Patrick a lot this summer, because you guys were on Fire Island for the entire summer, right? You guys basically took the whole summer out there.
Yes, we rented a place actually in Cherry Grove for the whole season. We had never, ever in the almost 20 years I've been going there, we've never done the entire season there. Now, we would go back to New York for a day or two every week, but sometimes we would stay out for 2 weeks straight. And we never did that, certainly spend that much time in Cherry Grove. And that was kind of an interesting change. And in that way, it was the best part about what we did and staying out for an entire season. We just got this little cottage on the beach. It was this tiny home, and we spent a lot of time in Cherry Grove, and that kind of gave us this experience that we were doing something new, and we were getting to know the community there, which is so different from the community in the Pines. And I love the history in Cherry Grove, so that made it the most interesting part about being there for an entire summer was being more in Cherry Grove than we normally were. But, gosh, it really does take a lot out of you to be there for an entire season.
This is what I was gonna say. For me, I'm good in Fire Island for about 3 or 4 days. I can't
Mhm.
even spend a whole week out there because I start to go a little nuts and I start to feel like I have to get away. I mean, listen, I love gay men. I love being a gay man, but being around that constant sort of frenetic energy, which is better in Cherry Grove than in Pines, as you point out, it is sort of more chill and a little less crazy. I start to go out of my mind and I have to get back. I cannot imagine spending an entire summer out there. But you guys seemed very happy every time I ran into you, and you got to perform out there a bunch of times too.
Yeah, I did at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season, and that was really that was a fun part of it. And I, volunteered for a few things, and that was kind of cool. I volunteered for Pines Party, for example. I had never ever done that, and that was really cool to. I did it for 2 days. I did it longer than I needed to. I was, painting end tables on the beach, and then I was setting up the VIP tent
Tell
and
the listeners what Pines Party is and describe it because it's sort of hard to imagine.
wild party that it starts, I think, at 10 p.m. and it goes until the sun rises. And it's a
On the
beach.
beach.
Yeah, it's a beach party. There's a theme every year. This year, the theme, well, shoot, I'm blanking on the theme, but it had a long history, the Wizard of Oz or Xanadu or the Olympics. I should remember, I can't in the moment. But it was cool. And so if you volunteer to set up for the party, your admission is free. The admission has gotten to be up to $400 a ticket.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm gonna be here all the time. I don't do anything while I'm here. I just sit around and you know but just one more thing about what you were saying about, if you get activated by that kind of social energy and being in Fire Island all the time, it is very tough to kind of hold yourself together for an entire summer. And it was amazing to me that because we'd always dreamed of being there for a whole summer and to enjoy that, to have that moment. And I have to tell you, every time we left and we would come back to New York City, the second we would come back into New York City, we would feel like ourselves again. We had felt like something was a little off about us being there so much. But that is partially has to do with what Fire Island is, and also has to do with who we are and how we let ourselves get activated by it. Some people don't get activated like that.
Well, people describe it as gay summer camp, and
Yeah,
it definitely feels like that. And, I always loved going to summer camp, and I always loved coming home
right.
and sort of getting back to real life.
Did you do
Um,
the camps? Did you do summer camps?
oh, Jews always send their kids to camp in the summer.
Well, I
That's
was gonna ask it like that, but
but it's just a thing, like especially in the Northeast. If you grow up Jewish, you grow up going to camp in the summer. So when I was really little, they sent me to this all boy sports camp for one summer, and I almost died. Like I can't even believe they did this to me. It was a hell on earth. I was bullied the entire time, not just by the other campers, but by the counselors. I mean, it was like being hazed for an entire summer.
that's horrible. I had to do before high school, and I was a late bloomer, so I went to an all boys Catholic high school, and it was
I
a
remember this.
big athletics school, and they did a pre high school program in the summer, and I had not sprouted up, and I was, short and chunky, and they were doing all shirts and skins and athletics with all these boys who were just way more interested and into it, and it was horrifying. And so I can't imagine what it'd be like then to have to go and sleep there.
It was so bad. But then later I went to like this touchy-feely camp that was perfect for me where it was co-ed for one thing and like we would give each other like written affirmations like here's what I love about you and there was no put downs allowed and like that was perfect for me. I did that for 2 years. Um, so anyway, let's talk about your upcoming shows. And I am as a Jew who grew up deprived of Christmas music in the home, I'm a huge fan of Christmas music. And there are so many songs to choose from. How did you choose the songs for your upcoming shows?
Well, this edition and a few of the ones recently, I'm taking from previous iterations of the show. This is my 17th holiday show in New York City. I,
Amazing.
st- I started this show in 2006. It was at the Metropolitan Room. Did you ever perform there?
Yes, I performed there when it was still the old Gotham Comedy Club. That
Oh,
was
I
the
didn't.
original Gotham Comedy Club, and then Gotham moved up the street, and that became the Metropolitan Room.
Yes, and so it was a cabaret club at the time, probably about, I don't know, 90 seats or something like
Hmm.
that. And it was during Jersey Boys, and I wanted to do something outside of the show because I was bored of the 8 show a week routine and doing the same things. And I was a budding concert artist at the time, and so I did a Christmas show. Kelly O'Hara, the acclaimed Broadway
Yes.
performer, was my first guest star, and I got up and the show sold out like in a second. I didn't even think about like what it was like to sell a show because the show Jersey Boys was so hot. You just would say you're doing a show and then it would do the trick. But the show was a big success. And so we came back and did it the next year and then moved it to a different place the next year and a different place the next year. And we've been doing it, with a few breaks, there. This year, the show is called Christmas on 42nd Street, so I'm relating a lot of the songs to the energy and spirit of New York City. I sing not just holiday songs, not just Christmas songs. I sing Hanukkah songs. I sing songs about New York City, and and just basically about kind of where we are or where I am as a person right now. That's got to go into the show every year as what is so about life for me, and that's what I try to put in every single show I do, every club show I do. Um,
So without
so that
giving away your whole repertoire, like what are some of the songs people can expect to hear this year?
well, I'm doing New York, New York, a la Liza that I'm
Fabulous.
about. NYC from Annie, New Deal for Christmas from Annie. Uh,
Love.
I do some for my Christmas EP. Winter Wonderland is a kind of a signature number of mine. All of this with a fabulous band. Some of the, I mean, I have an incredible band for this show, and so you're hearing trumpets, you're hearing saxophone, you're hearing flute, you're hearing drums. It's high octane, high energy arrangements. The show is just all about kind of raising the temperature of the room and kind of creating an atmosphere of spirit.
And will you have special guests this year?
I've had special guests, some really interesting special guests over the years. The last year and this year, I'm just not doing it because I wanted to just kind of focus on what I'm doing in the show. And when you have a special guest, sometimes it takes a lot of energy to coordinate
Uh,
their schedule and what they want to do and making sure they're happy. And I found that I was backstage worrying about the guests so much that I wasn't focusing on what the audience is really there for, which is my show.
you're
And I,
preaching to the choir, honey. I know all
yeah,
about it.
I had a good friend of mine say to me, my friend Ralph, who is just wonderful, who's gone to almost every damn show, every Christmas show. And he said, Daniel, we're here to see you. The special guests are great, but we want to see what you have to say, and we want to see what you're going to do. And that's really, so yes, sometimes the guests are great, but sometimes it's just we just wait for that to be over, and we want to see what you're going to do. So then I really thought to myself, I am enough.
You are enough. He's
And I thought,
absolutely right. Now, the one time I did a cabaret show, I'm not a real singer like you, but I love to sing. So the one time I did a cabaret show, I did have a lot of breaks in the show where someone else sang because I just wanted to break, like I
yeah.
was like, oh, now I get to just watch and have someone else sing.
You were like Countess Luann when she started hashtag Countess and Friends from Real Housewives of New York. When she started her cabaret show, she had special guests after special guests so that she didn't have to hold the whole show together. Now, no special guests. It's just
Is that
Countess.
true?
Mhm.
Well,
I am
I,
like the Countess Luann of my lane. In fact, I actually did Countess Luann's Christmas cabaret at the what's that place on 23rd Street? Uh, it's the theater. It's like by like Sixth Avenue or Madison. It's not Gotham. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm forgetting this theater. But it was a bigger theater. But
do,
I did her thing
do you
her.
know that Ben Rimelower reached out to me once at the last minute? This was like 2 or 3 Christmases ago. It was like Christmas week, and he was like, "We've had a dropout. Can you be one of Countess Luann's guests today? I think the show was in Jersey." And I was like, "Ugh, I would love to, but I'm just really tired." And I said no. And I kick myself every day for this because I could have done it. I should have done it, and I could have been like a regular guest of Countess Luann's if I had just said yes. Why did I say no to that?
That's
I love
hey,
Countess Luann.
I'll have those kick ourselves at
So stupid. I never say no to anything. And it was
yeah.
good money too. But I was just, it was like, that Christmas week when you're just so burnt out and exhausted and you don't want to leave your house? It was that. Daniel, speaking of shows, and then we're going to play Ask Me No Questions. The Broadway season is upon us. I have seen Queen of Versailles, which was deadly and is now closing. And I've seen Ragtime, which was absolutely a triumph, and Chess, which was kind of a mess, but I still loved it. Have you seen any of the new productions?
I have not. I mean, this is going to be like such a dead end question. Like no, I have not seen anything.
Are
I
you
could tell
looking
you,
forward to seeing anything?
I just,
Are you not a
I
Broadway fan?
love my shows, Adam.
It's
It's
only about you.
like when you ask Stevie Nicks, like, who do you listen to? And she goes, well, I listen to Fleetwood Mac albums. Like she literally said that. That's me. I'm like, I go to my shows. And my man is a Broadway choreographer, and so I go to his shows, but he's not doing a show in New York right now. But um, the ones I'm interested in, Ragtime. Well, I'll say this at least to give you some sort of answer is that Ragtime looks fabulous, and Ragtime is probably my favorite musical of all time.
Oh,
I
I
just
mean,
love that score. And this production looks like it's the first production that compares to the excitement and brilliance of the original production. That original cast with Audra McDonald, Brian Stokes Mitchell, Maren Maisie.
I saw
Um,
that original production in '98 and it was breathtaking. And this is, well, it's not that, but it is absolutely beautiful. Okay, without further ado, it is time to play everyone's favorite game, Ask Me No Questions.
Ask me no questions. Ask me no questions.
Yeah. Okay, what is the worst Christmas song ever?
I don't like Last Christmas You Gave Me Your Heart. It is
George
the most,
Michael?
yeah, the George Michaels. I mean, it first is like just repetitive as hell, and it's like the most passive aggressive like song in the world. It's what is the point? Like, what am I supposed to feel after this song? It's catchy, and of course, I love George Michael, but like, you
It's a
know,
great answer. The correct answer is I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas.
I like that. Dominic the Donkey is another awful, awful song.
That's bad unless you're talking about an actual guy named Dominic. Which is sexier, a smooth hole or a hairy hole?
Oh gosh. We'll just say smooth, but everything's wonderful. Oh.
No, you're correct. Uh, what is a Christmas movie you'll watch anytime it happens to be on TV and you turn the TV on and it's there?
Christmas Vacation
Oh, the Chevy Chase movie? Okay.
or Christmas.
Um, if you, this is one of my new Ask Me No questions. If you had to have sex with a cartoon character, which cartoon character would it be?
Well, Aladdin probably.
I think that's what our last guest said when I asked this. That's a great answer.
No, that was me, like a young boy who still didn't know I was gay, and I was like watching Aladdin. He had the voice, and it was like the cutest voice, and the skin, and the smile, and the jawline, and the bod. You know what I mean? That was I was like that. Yeah.
I
So
keep
that's
waiting for someone to say Porky Pig. Since you'll be in Cleveland performing December 10th, what's the most fun gay bar club hangout in Cleveland?
well, there's not too much that's that I've had that much fun in there in terms of gay bars. But there's a bar called Twist that still exists from when was coming out when I was a young gay college student, and it's called Twist on Clifton, I think it's called. And
Everyone look for Daniel at Twist on
Twist.
December 10th after his show at the Music Box. In the song "The 12 Days of Christmas," what did your true love give to you on the sixth day?
The Geese Laying.
Yes, very good. You didn't even
I'm
have
the,
to think about
I'm the
that.
king of Christmas,
When it comes to dirty talk in bed, are you pro or anti?
bro.
Yes, good
Big time
answers.
pro, big time pro because I want the person to know where they stand, and I want to know where I stand. I don't want anything trapped in the brain. I want it in the room.
I love that. Daniel, the last question is, what do you hope Santa brings you for Christmas when he comes down your chimney?
Oh my gosh. An income next year.
Yes, good answer. Daniel Reichard, you are a delight. People can see you in Christmas on 42nd Street at the Laurie Beachman in New York City, December 7th and 8th, and Christmas in Cleveland at the Music Box Supper Club in Cleveland, December 10th. Tickets for both shows are available at your Instagram, which is Daniel Reichard Life. Daniel, thanks so much for being our guest. I love you. It's always a pleasure to see you. Break a leg in all your shows.
I love you too. Thank you for having me. And as I said, I'm a big fan of you and a big fan of the show, and wishing you a very happy holiday season.
Mwah. You can follow my co-host Steve Cesaro at Cub Mexi on Instagram. Thank you all for listening and watching. Subscribe to The Ass at dnrstudios.com. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Adam Sank, also on Threads and Blue Sky, and at TikTok at Adam Sank Official. Email me at adam@adamsank.com. Go to adamsank.com for information and tickets for all my upcoming shows. Not that I have any at the moment. Happy Thanksgiving, happy December, bitches, and we'll see you next month. Bye. Bye.